Good evening, everyone. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. My name is Tom. I'll be your host for tonight, and tonight we have William Nighthawk, our native friend, and he's going to discuss some things and give us this perspective on his culture. And if you see behind me, that's a little gift of my wife. She kind of helped me hook up my studio, decorated a little bit, and got some shelves set up and some little trinkets there, some Bigfoot mugs, a Bigfoot little decal action figure, some books, and a little light. So, yeah, lightens it up. Thank you for that. Okay, what's going on, buddy? You there? Mr. William. Howdy. If you want to introduce yourself, sir, go for it. We're having a little bit of audio problems tonight, but it'll kind of catch up with the internet. So
it says I'm still backstage.
No, you're live now, buddy. You're good. You're here. If you want to do a quick bio on yourself and tell everybody, how where you're from, how this kind of life came into you, and so on. Hey, Laura. Hey. Okay, Nana. Hello, AJK. How's everybody doing tonight?
I only heard a little part of that.
Okay, if you want to do a bio on yourself real quick. And
there we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Do a little quick bio and let the audience know kind of how you came to be into this field.
Oh, I just lost sound.
Yeah, so we're having some audio internet difficulties tonight with the streaming. For some reason, StreamYard's being really tricky tonight.
I'm guessing you want me to do like an intro. So I'm William Nighthawk.
Okay.
You're really gargled up there. I don't know what's going on, but I'm William Nighthawk. I'm Lakota and Shawnee Native American. I'm a Wachashiwakan, which is a holy man, and I am a cryptid creature investigator, hunter. I am been in the paranormal field for over years, and basically grew up in an extremely paranormal environment and a home with the property and stuff, activity, a lot of cryptid activity.
We're going to do something a little different, everybody. I'm going to get him on Messenger right now and do it different because it's not working with this. So I'm going to call him on Messenger and see how that goes because this StreamYard's being really silly tonight, and it kind of gets aggravating, but you got to, keep your composure, stay calm, let the show go on no matter what. Hello.
You there? Yeah, you there?
Yeah. I got you on speaker. I guess we're going to have to do it like this tonight if you're cool with it. You there, William?
Oh, that's fine, I guess. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a little gargled and a little weak, but I can still make it out. Better than what it was.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's a lot better than what it was.
That's all that matters. So if you want to finish with your intro we'll get that going.
There you go.
So finish where you left off, and I'm gonna plug in my microphone and get it going.
I don't even know where I left off.
You were mentioning a cryptid investigator.
I'll start it over from the beginning.
Yeah, could start from the beginning. Go ahead.
Anyways, I'm William Nighthawk, and I am a Native American. I am Shawnee and Lakota, and have been in the paranormal field for over 35 years. I have been in the paranormal field actually my whole life because I grew up in a haunted house with a very, very cryptid environment. My whole life growing up, which is why I have my blog online that I put out every other day or so. About my childhood growing up in a haunted house and on property that had a lot of cryptid activity. I have been studying and researching and hunting Bigfoot and several of the other creatures for quite a few years now. I've interacted several times with Bigfoot. I've come to the conclusion that, my elders and my father, when I was growing up, telling me all the old stories and stuff, are true. And they say that a lot of our myth is based off of 50% fact. Well, I'm here to say it's based off of 100% fact.
I believe that 100%. Your culture,
Yep.
your people have experienced these things since the beginning of time before anyone came to this, this land. Your people and your ancestors have been dealing with these since, the beginning of time, trading with them, dealing with them. Obviously there's probably some interbreeding over the years. Who knows? I don't have factual evidence on that, but you might have. I've heard some stories about that kind of thing. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they our interaction with. Well, I personally call them a tribe.
Yeah.
And what I've basically figured out over my research and trying to interact with them over the years is that there's 4 basic distinct tribes of the Bigfoot variety. And I don't know if you are aware of what those are or not, but I've actually interacted with 3 out of the 4 breeds.
Wow.
And 2 out of the 4 breeds are definitely not liking mankind. So, but it goes without saying that, the Alaskan Sasquatch, Oman, that area of the country, all the way down into Oregon and upper part of California, they are the biggest of the breed. Their adults are anywhere from 9 feet tall to 14 feet tall. They're very, very shy. They don't like to be around humans, and they don't like to be interrupted by humans. They're territorial, but they're only territorial when their family's in danger or you endanger some way they feel the environment or you interrupt a hunt. The second breed is probably the nastiest of the 4 breeds. They are the breed that came up from South America, believe it or not. South America has legends and stuff and indigenous culture stories about Bigfoot being down there too. So they are a lot smaller. They're anywhere as adult size from 6 feet tall to about maybe 8 feet tall. At least the ones that they're real nasty. They don't like humans. They would rather rip you apart limb from limb than try to get along with you. They are not only nasty, but they're very mischievous too. They will break into places and not worry about humans being around at all. So they've got no fear of humans.
Wow.
But they are the smallest of them, of the breed. And the third breed would be your breed that comes out of like the upper Midwest, Lakota and Crow and Blackfoot territory up that way. Even the Chippewa and Ojibwe area along Michigan and Wisconsin. They are what a lot of people are calling the Gugways. They look more, it's almost kind of hard to describe. They look almost like in the face like a baboon.
Yeah. They have that protruded
with
snout.
The shorter snout.
Yeah.
But they are mostly ape or monkey, whatever you want to call it, and less human. They're the other ones that are mean. They're the ones that like to basically kidnap Native children and the women, especially in the area up there. I'm not sure how far down south they do come, or even east. But for the most part, what I could figure out, and from what a lot of my stories from my father and our elders and stuff about the Gugway, is that they're the original red-haired giants. And if anybody knows anything about the Native American story,
You're breaking up. Hold on a minute.
To steal fire from.
You broke up, William. If you could repeat that with the kind of like maybe 30 seconds before you were saying something, you broke up for a minute. You had no audio.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see here.
You were talking about the Gugway.
Yeah. About them stealing our yes. children and our elders, and our women. They basically would take the women and I guess they would, if they wouldn't get along with them, they would probably kill them.
Right.
They were a nasty breed, tribe of them. They're mostly ape, baboon, in the face.
Right.
They are anywhere from, as an adult, 7 feet tall to 9 feet tall. Probably anywhere from 600 to 800 pounds. Then you've got the final one, the fourth kind of Bigfoot, which is the kind that I enjoy interacting with a lot more than the others, and that is the human-looking kind of Bigfoot.
Right.
They are anywhere, as an adult, from 7 feet tall to 9 feet tall. They go anywhere from probably 450 pounds on up to 900 pounds. They are very strong, very family-oriented, and very protective of their friends. And yes, you can become friends with that kind of breed. They're the ones that like to gift. They're the ones that always gift you in return if you give them something, which means they have an appreciation for mankind. And they are probably the most social out of all four of the breeds that I have found.
That's pretty awesome. Now, you're saying these are the ones with the features that have like the more like the their Aboriginal, like native, ancient kind of facial features that look more human than anything, right?
That's correct. That's correct, Tom.
All right.
They're very social, and I'll tell you, I've interacted with them. Oh God, my first interaction with them, interaction with them, was when I was 12 years old. And ever since then, it seems like wherever I go, I run into them on the East Coast. I started out interacting with them when I was 12 in northwestern Pennsylvania, right along the edge of the Lake Erie, the Great Lakes, Seneca, New York area, Allegheny Mountains, that whole area up in there. And it seems like everywhere I've gone, I'm in Virginia now, and I've interacted with them 4 times since I've been down here.
Oh, wow.
So there's different, I'm not sure exactly how far that they would, like, their territorial would be as far as them, interacting with other of their kind. I'm not sure how far they would migrate. But they do migrate. They're just like us. They don't like the cold. It's harder to hunt and harder to survive in the cold than it is in the warmer climate. So obviously that's why they get seen a lot. They try to take the rivers and streams and railroad tracks and power lines, and even caverns as much as possible. But they still have to spend the majority of their time walking up here where we're at. And the only route they could really take along our area of the country, from where you are to I am, all the way down into Florida and Georgia, for that matter, would be the Appalachian Trail.
Right. That trail spans how many states? I mean, it spans like almost 6 states. So it's a huge stomping ground for them with, caves, tunnels, caverns, streams, rivers, plenty of places to hide and hang out and stay hidden. So perfect cover in that whole range.
Yeah, that's correct. That's very correct. You are absolutely 150% right. Another thing too, though, is you got to remember the Appalachian Trail starts all the way up in Maine.
Yeah.
So it's going to span quite a few states up that way. And then I think somehow or another it dwindles out somewhere around Maryland a little bit and the lower part of Pennsylvania, and then it gets back up into our area of the Appalachian Trail.
Absolutely.
I've only been on parts of it. I haven't done the whole thing. One of my encounters that I had was actually on the Appalachian Trail. That was before I got cancer. I want to get back out again and in that same area, the Appalachian Trail around me, and see if I can interact with them again after I get the okay from my doctor next month.
Nice.
But yeah, I'll tell you what, they are the ones that are around us. They do trade with the other ones. They do interact with the other ones when at all possible. They're just like any other culture of people. I mean, you're going to have your good and your bad. Yeah. Just like we have. We have our good and our bad in our cultures. With our people, they have the same thing. And you can't really hold that against them, because a hunter is out in the middle of nowhere with his gun, killing a deer that they probably had their eye on, and they have a bad interaction with them, and they think that the Bigfoot's going to kill them,
Right.
That you'll find out that a lot of the horror stories are the people that are going into the forested areas, the mountains or whatnot, or all that, and they're going in without a respect for the land.
Yes.
And without a respect for the animals.
That and humanity. No respect for
humanity. And, that's usually where you have the bad.
Yeah.
Exactly. And anybody that knows anything about life is you've got to have respect for life, the sanctity of life, And we as Native people believe that everything has spirit. Absolutely. The rock, the tree, the water, grass, the flowers. I mean, all the animals, it all has spirit. It all wouldn't be here.
No, not at all.
And somehow over the years, And this is just my theory. I'm not saying I'm the expert, on the whole thing. This is just from my experience. I believe that somehow over the years, since mankind's progressed away from nature, they have gotten closer to nature and been able to interact with nature on a more spiritual type of a level, almost like a higher plane of existence, if you want to put it that way. A lot of the people see orbs with Bigfoot sightings, lights in the sky or whatnot. And I believe that the orbs are actually their spiritual essence, their being, and that's how they can basically travel from one dimension to another. And that's just my theory, but over the last 30 some plus years, my theories have been pretty much panning out as far as I've been seeing them. So, but then again, like I said, I'm no way and means not the expert. There's a lot of us out there that interact with these things. And I hate even calling them things, but I don't even know what to call them anymore. I call them tribes and people think I'm crazy. I call them people and people think I'm crazy. Some people, when I call them an ape, they think I'm crazy. You can't please everybody.
Yeah, hold on to the questions till we get closer to the end, guys, because we're gonna do some delving into this native perspective. Real quick, William. I've been to some powwows. My uncle took me to some powwows in Pennsylvania when I was a kid, because he adopted the native ways. He actually did the Sundance. Is that what it's called? The Sundance, where you hang from your chest from the deer horn antlers. And you dance around the tree. Yep, I'm a Sundance veteran too. Yes. Yep. So my uncle has the scars. He did that back in the 80s. Yeah. He lived in Montana, but he took me to some powwows and some sweat lodges and whatnot when I was a kid. And one of the sweat lodges, after we got out of it in Pennsylvania, it was all mountains and rivers. We got out of the sweat lodge, and we were going to go into the stream to cool off, because it was, obviously when you're a kid and you endure something that hot, you need to cool off really fast when you get out of it. So they were saying the guy that owned the land, his name was Carlo Hawkwalker, and he was half native and half, I think he was Italian or Hispanic, but he was a mixture of, but it was his land, and he was the tribal elder of that territory. And I was kind of worried because it was out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and he said, "Don't worry, the watchers, the protectors of the forest will keep you safe." And I had no clue what he was talking about. And after getting into this field and this kind of, into cryptids and Bigfoot and all that, I kind of realized he was talking about, the Bigfoots were going to keep the kids safe because they don't want nothing to happen to the young kids that are out in the woods, let's say the not defenseless, but the innocent children, they look out for the children.
They not only look out for the children, Thomas, they look out for everything.
Yeah.
They are, I kind of look at my relationship with them as we're both conduits to our peoples from Mother Earth.
Right.
And, like me being the Wachashawakan, the holy man, as far as my culture goes, I'm that conduit to my people from Mother Earth and from Bigfoot to my people. And that, I guess that connection, that spiritual connection that I have with them, that level is sustaining itself no matter where I go. And that's what's given me the opportunity to interact with them so much. And I will tell you right now, anybody that's ever gone out into the woods or the forest around them and just taken the time to appreciate the environment around them and the animals, they have a much more pleasant experience than people going out hunting and all that and tramping around the woods and trying to destroy it, basically, or somehow bloody it up.
Oh, absolutely. You like the way I see it, when I go out to the woods, you go out with a pure heart. You kind of go out with become one with nature, and you don't go out like you're going to take everything. You kind of bring something with you, even if it's a small piece of bark or a feather. something small to show that you're respecting the land and you're kind of leaving it as you go into the woods as almost like a gift, or giving something back as well. I always see it like that.
Right. Well, we as Native people, we carry tobacco with us, and we carry feathers with us. That's the first two things that we have carried. And over the years of interacting with them on my personal level and with my family history, we have gifted them feathers and tobacco. And, every time we come to water source, we always offer tobacco to the water to appease the spirit of the water and to give us thanking the water for the nourishment of Mother Earth and for ourselves, because without it, we wouldn't survive. The same aspect is everything that we interact with on a daily basis. We should do that. When we go to cut down a tree for firewood, we always make sure that it's the kind of tree that's, on its last leg, and we offer tobacco at the base of the tree and say a prayer for the tree spirit. Yeah. And then we process the tree for firewood. That is the way we have to look at interacting with Bigfoot. No matter where you're at in this world, whether you call them Bigfoot, Yahweh, Yeti, you gotta interact with them on the right frame of mind and spirit.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% right. I mean, mind, spirit, interaction, and positivity. You can't go in the woods or just into any area with that negative attitude, because they can pick up on that when you got a negative attitude. Right before you get in the woods, they know you got a negative attitude. They already know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. You are right.
I was gifted, and surprisingly, I hate to kind of bring it up again, but I mean, not even that I hate, just talking about it all the time, but I was gifted a deer on my property and my woods, because I give grass. I put out dead grass for bedding every winter. Once in a while, I put apples before they go stale. I'll put apples out, and just be very humble when I walk into the woods to do whatever I do. I don't go out there with bad intentions, and I guess they pick up on it. One day I was hunting a deer, I missed a shot on it, and the next day or 2 days after, the same deer that I missed a shot on with my crossbow was laying at the tree that I put the apples at with its neck snapped backwards. So I guess they were saying, here you go, sir. Have a deer.
Yep. See, that's just the way they are. Just basically got to treat them like we treat ourselves. You always want to treat people how you want to be treated. And, I look at them as being another tribe or another nation of people, just, a little bit less advanced than we are in the technology aspect of it. But I'll tell you what, they're a lot more advanced in the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, they have their advancements. What they have, just everything about them is so much more advanced than us, because they're like the ancient ones. They've been here before us, and they're going to be here after us. So they know how to blend in. They know how to live off the land, and they don't quarrel over stupid things like what items of this, that, the other thing. They don't fuss over things like that, because they're just their basic original mentality kind of just stays on just everything, basic necessities. That's it, just food and water and shelter. That's all they need, and they get it all in the woods.
Yep. And if you think about it, Thomas, too, that's all that mankind needed for the longest time, until somehow this jump into technology happened.
Yeah.
And then mankind kind of, there's a few of us that still interact with the wild, but there's not as many as there used to be back, years ago. And after we made that technology jump, it seemed like mankind turned its back on the environment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because when you put your phones down, you put everything down, you go into the woods, and you just kind of have that mindset where you just kind of become one with nature. You're so much more your chances are going to be a lot higher of countering something. It doesn't even have to be Bigfoot, but just the spirit of the forest. You're going to encounter all that when you just put your phone down and shut the noise of the world out. That's what I try to do, when I go out into the woods. just shut it all down and let it happen. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another good point too. Is that there is a lot more out there in the wilderness, in the forest, in the woods, in the mountains around us every day than just Bigfoot. There's several different types of beings out there that are, a lot of it is, the over oral tradition from being Native American. They teach us about the little people. They teach us about the tree peepers. They teach us about the lizard people, the dogmen, all that. We've been, the thunderbirds. There's a vast amount of things that are out there, and just because people don't see it all the time doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right. But your word for dogman is pretty much isn't dogman. Like that's like the new age term. Like, what are your people? I know that one of the terms is Nashobashito, but what do your people actually call the dogman? Besides that.
The Shunkawakan.
Okay. The Shunkawakan.
Which is basically dog man.
Okay.
Yeah. Or dog spirit, dog right. Man. I haven't really had the chance to interact with that cryptid as much as I would like to. I'd kind of like to get more into that this summer, but we'll see how things go. We'll see where the Great Spirit guides me to do it. I've also been busy while I've been recovering from cancer with, like I said, with that little recorded broadcast that I do, every now and then the blog page about my life growing up. And, so I try to do as much as I can, even though I'm down and out with this battling this cancer right now. But I've already had 3 surgeries. So it's taking its toll on me, but I'm slowly, very slowly, but I'm getting stronger every day.
Well, prayers to you, buddy.
I'm just hoping and praying I can get out there, by the time the nice weather comes around and be able to get out there and do some camping over a weekend or so, and or even take a week somewhere and just go and live in the woods, old bushcraft style, which is what I used to do. So.
All of us send you prayers for healing and getting through this, because I know it's not an easy thing to get through. You there?
I couldn't hear you, brother.
Oh, all of us give prayers and thoughts for you to get better through this, because I know that's not easy.
Well, I look at it this way, the Creator's not going to give me any more than I can endure. And for some reason, I'd rather take this cancer on than have somebody else suffer from it. I've already had my esophagus completely removed, and they made my stomach my new esophagus. So that makes it difficult, with a lot of eating and drinking. I certainly can't eat as much as I used to, and I can't drink as much as I used to. And then I got to watch what I eat and drink too. So, but yeah, they took an 11 centimeter mass that was cancer. They had to take the whole esophagus with that one. They took a 10 centimeter mass out of colon, and they took a 9 centimeter mass off my abdominal wall. So I've had a lot of masses taken out of me.
Yeah, well, that's a blessing.
I'm doing okay now, I think so.
That's a blessing you're here with us talking about it, because something like that, sometimes not everyone makes it through. So it's glad to have you here with us.
Oh, I was tell you what, anybody that's ever been in the shoes of when they tell you, you've got 6 months to live, and because that's what they told me when they diagnosed me, you got 6 months to live, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people say, you can't beat cancer and all that, keep your head up and just try to push through it. You can beat it. You can beat it. You'd be surprised at what the human body can do if we just let it do it.
Absolutely. The creator's got you. They got a plan for you, and it's not done with you yet. There's plenty of stuff for you to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping. Anybody have any questions, Tom?
Yes, we had one question from Laura. I think she was saying something about that they followed you home. Would they follow you if they knew you? They knew your, I guess. Hey, Laura, can you put that question back out that we went through before? I think I might have skipped past it. It's way past the scroll. Thank you, Big. Plenty of stories to share.
Well, if I understand that correctly, she's talking about do they follow you home? If they know that you're a kind of a open spirit and connected and grounded, yeah, they will follow you home.
But not with bad
especially
intentions.
Especially if you gifted them.
Right, with good intentions, though, right? It was when you moved. When you moved, do they think that they followed you? You know, the tribes that you were having interaction with.
Well, it's different. It's different. It's kind of like, yes, there's some of them that do follow and stick by you, because we have that connection to that specific individual. But it's also the way that they communicate too. They communicate just like we do. They have their own language, you know. In fact, long before the white man came here, the native people used to be able to talk to them.
Right.
You know, we used to be able to communicate with them. And we also used to be able to talk to the animals, believe it or not.
Wow.
You know, people can laugh at that all they want, awesome. But it's the truth. It's just, the way it used to be way back when, thousands of years ago.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I believe that you can have a spiritual connection with one of them that's so powerful and so strong that the connection is that they will follow you wherever you go. It depends on if they can use that aspect, that higher level of a spiritual being to move themselves from one point to another without having to travel on foot, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kind of like, opening up portals and that's another thing too. Everybody talks about portals and UFOs being seen with Bigfoot and all that. And it's been my experience that the extraterrestrial culture that is around us and has been around us, including, the star people have been around my people for a long time. Again, we have legends about that too. Interacting with them, elders being given, rides in their starseed vehicles, and seeing Earth as being round when everybody else thought it was flat. But I think that if you've got a species on a planet that you've been watching over hundreds of thousands of years, wouldn't you be interested in studying everything about the planet? And I believe that the extraterrestrials are studying Bigfoot just as much as they're studying us.
Right. Yeah, why not?
So that's why I think the connection between the UFO and Bigfoot is, I don't think the Bigfoot's an alien. Why not?
Yep, they are. I mean,
I think that if they are going to interact with an alien species,
yeah.
Well, I think if they are, they're going to be more on the lines of a bodyguard.
Right. That makes sense. That doesn't make sense because
anything for the sheer intimidation factor.
Yeah. Well, they're always attributed hand in hand with sightings too. Like UFO sightings, and then there's a Bigfoot sighting in the same area. I got another question for you, real quick. I got a couple lined up, but the first one's going to be about what kind of tobacco do they like, the chew or the pipe tobacco?
Oh, pipe tobacco.
Pipe tobacco.
And I'll tell you why. Because what they do is you're not going to get any of them to chew tobacco. first off, I don't I don't recommend it to anybody, anyways.
You're gonna give him a bellyache, get pissed mad.
Just for the health factor thing, but yeah, and the pipe tobacco, what they'll do is it's kind of like an incense for them. They'll take the smoke from it and they'll smudge from the smoke to purify their spirit. Kind of like we take sage and sweetgrass,
right,
and smudge with the smoke from it to purify our spirit and to cleanse us. They do the same thing with tobacco.
Okay. That's pretty awesome. Okay, the next question is from AJK. He wants to know, let's see, what kind of Bigfoots are in Louisiana and are they mean?
Are they mean?
He said, what kind of Bigfoot are in Louisiana and are they mean ones?
Yeah, well, Louisiana, all the way into Florida and even parts of Texas. I mean, everybody's heard of the Falk Monster.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of the skunk ape. That breed is the breed that I believe, and again, this is just my theory. This isn't 100% fact, This is just my theory. That is the smaller breed that came up from South America. And yes, they are mean. They are nasty. And they will try to take advantage of humans. They will steal from them. They will try to frighten them. And they've even been known to be violent towards them.
Wow. All right. Let's see. Do you know about Tecumseh? That's another question.
Do I know about Tecumseh?
Yeah, this is what does William know about Tecumseh?
Well,
I'm sure you know.
What does William know about Tecumseh? I know about Tecumseh as much as I know about the son of the morning star.
Perfect answer. Okay. I'm gonna stay here. All right. I got a question for you from me. I mean, out of all the tribes of, you said there's 4 kinds of tribes of Bigfoot out there that attributes to like different, like some people give them names, like say like one tribe you said the Gugwe, like, so what would be like the it's not the Gugwe. There's the you got the Gugwe,
Sasquatch.
the Sasquatch, and you got the one like the rock. The stone giants. So those are
the rock apes.
Yeah, the rock ape, stone giant. Those are the ones that have like they're considered to be rolled around in mud, and it kind of gets thick on their hair, and it gives them like an armor almost. And that's when they gave them that name, because the natives couldn't hit them with their arrows because they had that hardened mass on their fur, on their hair, and it kind of became like an armor.
And you know what's funny about that too? You know why they started doing that, from what I understand and from what I've found out? Yes. Is they started doing that because first off, it takes and keeps the mosquitoes and the bugs away from them. And secondly, on the hot days, the cold mud made them cool down a lot faster. They didn't get overheated. So that, coupled with when the mud dried, it was a good barrier, just like a breastplate that a Native American warrior would wear into battle that would, bounce off the arrows. Because the breastplates that we used to wear and the chokers that we wear around our neck were made out of bone.
Right. Yeah. Good, very good armor. All that. I mean, you can't beat that stuff.
Exactly.
Al Santarigi, do you have any questions for our guest? Anyone else have any more questions? Just put them down there. They don't have to be in all caps. Just put a Q. I know how pain of a butt it is to type sometimes and to put them all in caps. Not everyone has a computer, and it's a lot harder to do from an iPhone. So just put a Q and then ask your question to Mr. William, because he's got a lot of information. Very, very,
and like I said before, this is just from my own observations and my own studies over the 30-some plus years. So
yeah, I mean, it's great that you have this observations. I mean, because not everyone has not everyone can get out and do what you do because you have that connection to them. From it's pretty much embedded in your bloodline.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Hey, Duke, what's going on? All right. Gogwe. Bigfoot Radio. Janosqua. Yeah, Janosqua. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks, Duke. So Janosquas are the ones, the stone giant. The nasty. William, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. You kind of had a little discrepancy.
Hey,
there you are.
Yeah, the thing of it with the stone giants, the rock ape, that they're going to be nasty just because they just don't like people. They've probably seen how people have acted, over hundreds and hundreds of years, that they don't. I think that saying that for a T-shirt, intelligent, and that's pretty much the way at it.
Yeah, you're breaking up again. This is
on nature.
Yeah, you broke up for a second.
Turn back on the land, and we've.
Not getting a good signal. Okay, Al Santoriga, you have a question? Thank you, Marvin. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you showing love. Really means a lot. William, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Al Santoriga has a question, says, why do you believe the ones down south are smaller?
Well, originally, from my interaction with them in Florida and parts of Louisiana, because, see, I lived in Arkansas for a while. I lived in Bryan, Arkansas, so I had plenty of opportunity to go down to Falk and interact down there. It's just from my own personal observation. And if you hear, you actually follow some of the sightings, you never hear of any of them being over 9 feet tall. It's basically genetics. That's the breed that came up from South America. And when they came up from South America, they were a little smaller, but they still interact. And like I said, they still trade the stuff with the other tribes of them. And it's possible, that they could intermix, breeds and stuff and become bigger.
Right.
But it's just been, from my experience and from what I've seen, that they're a little bit smaller than the other ones.
Okay.
But just remember, man, dynamite comes in small packages.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any ways or means mean that they're weaker than any of the other ones, though.
Absolutely. Got another question. Do you believe that they are flesh and blood or spiritual?
I think they can be both, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I think that they can definitely be both. I think that they've proven that, too. 1 minute they're there, 1 minute they're not. I think that they have advanced so far with the environment and with the planet and the spiritual and the energy from the planet and the environment and the animals, that they have developed a higher plane of existence spiritually than we are capable of understanding. But they are also flesh and blood. They would have to be flesh and blood, because if they eat, they have to, they have to be flesh and blood. That in itself proves that they're flesh and blood.
Yeah.
If they weren't flesh and blood and they were just spirit all the time, then they wouldn't eat. They wouldn't have a necessity for it.
Yeah. So I'm with you on that. I'm going to go with both. It's both. It's combined. The next question we have, what do the Bigfoots like to eat? And then there's a question mark, and there's another question mark after wild pigs. But I think they kind of eat everything. They're omnivores.
Yeah. You'll find out that they're not too picky either. They'll do fish. They'll steal chickens. They'll steal your dog, your cat. they'll take down cattle. They're not proud. I mean, hell, I even excuse my language. I even had a run-in with one. I thought it was fighting with an alligator down in Fulk, Arkansas. The one time I saw it, and sure enough, it was. So I mean, they're not picky on what they eat. They'll even eat alligators.
Yeah, I think they're opportunity eaters. Like if something's an easy meal, they're going to go for it. And I've heard of them even doing dumpster diving next to restaurants in like urban areas because they put food out there. And what's the best way to get free food? And to jump in a dumpster and get all the scraps that they took at a restaurant to put out there. And that's a free meal, and they don't have to fight for it. They don't have to work for it all. It's just put out there for them in a dumpster. So why not?
Exactly. And I'll tell you another thing too, to go further on that, to expand on that, is the reason you see them in a lot of the suburban areas now.
Yeah.
Is because trash night.
Yeah.
They're going to know when people put out their garbage to be picked up, and they know from dumpster diving and by talking to each other that when people put out their trash, there's sometimes good things, to eat in there, and there's sometimes good things in there you can use to survive. So, it's the dumpster diving is a whole culture. I mean, even mankind does it. So,
yeah, why not? I mean, it's just like a homeless man going out by the garbage can when everyone puts their garbage cans out Sunday night to go get a quick, easy meal of what scraps that was put out the night before. If someone throws something in a trash bag that they didn't want to finish with leftovers, they can get a quick meal and get out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think of it as a raccoon getting into the garbage cans. Just a lot bigger.
A whole lot bigger than a raccoon. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. Are they affected by snake bites and poisonous spiders?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I would have to say that they are, but obviously that they have gotten to a size in an adulthood that they could probably tolerate the snake bites and the spider bites a lot more. I would think that it would probably affect the younger ones and the juvenile and the toddler type of ones more than it would the adults because of the size difference. Also, you got to figure natural immunity too. I mean, who's to say? I mean, we are smart enough to derive antidotes from spiders and snakes, for people that are getting bit. So they probably would know something herbal wise out of nature to actually help.
Yeah. I was just thinking.
So I mean,
something.
It's a couple different things, but I think they could probably sustain it as an adult. But if they're younger, juvenile and younger, then I would say that they would probably have about the same chance as we have as adults.
Absolutely. Now, I got another question for you. I think you kind of hit on this in the beginning, but this Al Santorica kind of caught up towards the end. So he wanted to know, what do you believe these creatures are?
Well, as far as my people are concerned, that these creatures have always been here, and I hate that word creature. I really do. And that's no disrespect to the person asking the question. I think if we look at them as just another tribe of beings, I mean, you don't even have to use the word people. You don't have to use the word creature. I think that, if we just realize that, to me, a creature is just something that goes around and destroys things and kills people and is just ruthless. I don't look at them as that. Like any any society, you're going to have your good and your bad ones. You know, I mean, we have it a lot too. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely right. It just goes hand in hand. You know, that sounds. Your people have been we mentioned in the beginning. Your people have been having dealings with these this ancient tribes of people since the beginning of times, before the English came over from overseas. Your people were the ones that were having interactions with them, trading with them, sharing with them. I'm sure it was a lot more, and the relationship was a lot better until like I said, technology took over. People from overseas came over. The boomstick started coming around,
brother,
scaring them in the woods.
You got no idea. I mean, I picked berries next to them and wild grapes next to families of them, and I've never had a problem. And there are some people out there, that have problems with them. But then again, I feel like it comes down to they can sense something about people. It's kind of like how everybody has that saying of how a dog can tell a good person from a bad person.
Yeah.
It's kind of that same instinct, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's an instinct like that because, like I said, you go to a dog can tell a good person from a bad person just from walking right up to it within 50 yards. The dog can tell that. So if a dog can do it, obviously they can do it. Okay, description sounds like Yowie. Okay, got another question for you. Do you think they are connected to ETs?
Again, that's kind of like what I answered before. I think that if they're connected to ETs, they're going to be more on the lines of either they're being studied by them, just like we are, or they have somehow used them to become some type of a bodyguard, or or a way to see how mankind interacts with certain situations. I think that they probably have just as much a chance of being abducted as humans do. That's why I think they're seen with a lot of UFOs.
Right.
Now, like I said before, with the orbs, the white and yellow orbs that people are seeing around them, and even the orange and reddish orbs, I think that is their kind of look at it as like the Oriental people do as far as a chi. It's like their chi, It's their essence, their spiritual essence is what I call that, and they can probably go from one dimension to another or a parallel universe by using their spiritual power, their chi, to manifest that orb and travel that way. But as far as the UFO and alien thing, I think that they're either being studied or they are literally being used for like a bodyguard or to just keep an eye on things. I think they're intelligent enough to basically probably learn from the aliens over, however long the aliens have been around. So it's very possible they could have a technology too. I mean, I haven't experienced that yet though, so I don't know.
Absolutely. No, I think this will probably be the last question because we're at 59 minutes. So we have, let's see, do Native American people show their hands so they can count in 5 fingers? I've heard many Native Americans fighting with giants. I guess that's like the Howl thing where they put the 5, see if you have 5 fingers. If they have 6 fingers, they're pretty much, giant, bad. So do you know about that?
Yeah. The 6-finger giant thing, again, you've got to figure too that, there might be some kind of, and I hate to say it this way, but there might be some kind of inbreeding going on.
Right.
It's just like finding the 3-toed Bigfoot tracks and stuff. I think that there is probably more out there than we know. Are the giants, the six-fingered giants, the Nephilim?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a whole nother, you're going down a whole nother path there if you're talking the Nephilim. The Anunnaki. I mean, it depends on, I wouldn't know about that because that's not really my expertise as far as that goes. But yeah, I have heard of the six-fingered giants. And yes, Native Americans, what we're taught to put our hands up to show that we don't have anything on our hands to hurt them.
Right.
And B, to prove that we're there to mean no harm. And C, it's just a way of basically saying hello,
Absolutely. Put your hand up in the Halio, I'm a friend. I bring I come in peace, no harm. That shows a lot,
Yep.
Okay, I think this is the last question. This is right here. This is have you ever spoke with them with your mental telepathy?
Yes, I have. 2 or 3 different times. They do have a way of putting some thoughts into your mind, whether it's telepathy or some other way. It is definitely some kind of telepathy, but they also use a method of ultra low frequency type of guttural growls that we really can't hear, kind of like an echolocation type of a thing, to where they can make you sick to your stomach and so bad that you don't want to be around out where they're at. They use that as a tool to basically move the bad people from their area, right, without harming them completely, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like pretty much infrasound. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Infrasound. Yeah. I couldn't think of the word just now. Thank you.
Yeah, infrasound. That's okay. Everyone's jumped. Yeah,
sorry,
it's okay. Everything has different names, and you know firsthand how you've seen. Like you can, your people can, know this, and that was probably going around before they came out with the word infrasound as well. So, yeah, Connor. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up. I want to thank everybody. William, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you working with me because we had a lot of technical difficulties tonight because we started with you on camera on StreamYard, and we kind of finished within the first 5 minutes. You cut out and buffered out, and it was pretty much our whole run through before we even went live. This was happening, so I just decided to call you on Messenger chat and have you speak into the microphone through my Messenger on my microphone here. So it worked out better. There was no crapping out. It came. We did our job tonight. That's all that matters. The show went on. And we got a lot of information.
Well, that's good. I hope I answered everybody's questions. And if not, maybe they could get a hold of me through, my Facebook or whatnot and message me on Messenger too. William Nighthawk. And also, with the blog that I have, they could contact me through that too, because there's a place on there for their email and stuff if they have a question.
Yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to William Nighthawk, you're a member of my group, so if you want to plug your stuff, I always approve you no matter what. So if you want to plug your stuff in my group, feel free to do it as much as you want. Everyone that I have, I interview and I'm friends with, I give people free reins to do whatever you want in my group.
It's basically, the link that's on my blog site and my audio site is kind of messed up with Google right now, so you have to go through Yahoo. But it's www.nighthawkshighstrangeness.com/blog/.
Okay. And I'll start sharing some of that stuff to you because you share stuff with me just about every day. So I will also forward that towards the group as well to make it happen. Because I appreciate, I try to help people out and spread their messages out as well, within my groups. So if I can do that, that'd be great to help you out since you helped me out.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're all family. So, you just let me know if you all need anything and I'll be there.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you coming on tonight. Well, William, you have a great night, and I appreciate you, and much blessings and prayers to you to get through the rest of your journey with your battle with ailments. Have a good night. I'm going to end this broadcast.
Yeah, we'll get together again, and maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about some other things. You never know.
Yes, we definitely got to do this again, and hopefully the next time we do it, the internet will be a little more friendly. So, well, have a good night, everybody. Thank you, William. Take care.
I think it's the mountains that are screwing all the signals up with the internet, brother. So I don't think it's the equipment.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, you take care, and I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Blessings to you, brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, everybody, have a great night. Thanks for coming out.